The next method of depreciation that we're going to talk about is the production method. That shows up. Okay, so the production method is very similar to the straight line, except that our focus here with the production method is going to focus on the units of production that we estimate that this particular asset is going to be able to produce over its life. Okay, it does not matter, it does not base it in any way, shape, or form on time. Depreciation is totally based on usage. So where this might be frequently seen is something along the lines of a production piece of equipment. So let's say a manufacturer, an injection molding machine. An injection molding machine, they're going to estimate that this molding machine is going to be able to do 300 million units before it has to be replaced. Okay. Yeah, it's a lot. Okay. So like a copier down in our copy room, they estimate the useful life of those copiers in terms of how many copies it's going to make. Okay, so that's how they depreciate the copier. So they estimate it based on the units that the copier is going to, how many things can it copy over its useful life. So we're going to again look at our cost minus our residual value to get our estimated units of useful life, and then multiply that by the units produced during the period. Okay? There must be a way to reasonably estimate the asset's use over time. So for instance, copier. You know, they have lots of statistics on how many copies a particular copier brand can typically copy. Okay? So that's how they base it. They base it on, you know, data that tells them that a typical copier wears out in, I don't know, 50 million sheets of paper. I don't know. Okay? Must be a way to reasonably estimate it, and then you use that appropriate unit to make your determination of the depreciation value. Okay, so a typical depreciation schedule for our production method will look very similar to that schedule that we showed for our straight line basis. However, this annual depreciation number will totally depend upon the amount that copier or that production piece of equipment is used during a year. So, for instance, in this particular year, year 2, in this model, let's say we were talking about a copier, we would say, oh, in this case, actually, I think we're talking about a truck. This truck was used for more miles in this particular year, so therefore it's going to be depreciated for more. Okay? So it's common, actually, trucks, copiers, things like that. Okay? So we can actually say that we think that a truck is going to last 100,000 miles. That's going to be our valuation. So in the production method, the depreciation method using the production method, we're going to use this formula here. Cost minus residual value divided by the units of useful life. This is going to give us a factor. We're going to multiply this factor by the actual units produced during the year. So we get this factor like here, and we're going to multiply it by the number of miles driven to get our depreciation amount. All right, so let's look at a problem. Oh, let me get this up on the screen. Okay. SE7, we're going to assume, and we're going to use that same data we used for Dora's Fitness Center in SE6. We're going to assume that the step machine in SE6 has an estimated useful life of 8,000 hours. And it was used for 2,400 hours in year 1, 2,000 hours in year 2, 2,200 hours in year 3, and 1,400 hours in year 4. So each year, we're going to multiply the actual number of hours that were used by whatever that factor is that we calculated for that particular step piece of equipment. Okay, so we have an estimated useful life of 8,000 hours. Applying that formula that we just talked about over here, our cost minus our residual value divided by the estimated useful life, we're going to take, our cost is going to be 8250 again, minus our residual value of 750, gives us our 7,500. Okay, so we're going to only depreciate it for 7,500. And then we have an estimated useful life. Instead of our estimated useful life, in here we just said it was 4 years, right? In this problem for production, our useful life is going to be quantified in terms of hours. So we're going to divide our depreciable cost by the number of hours of usage. And we get this factor of 0.9375. So what we can do is multiply this factor times the number of hours for each year. So in year 1, it says we used it for 2,400 hours. I'm just going to do the math over here. 2,400 hours times the factor of 0.9375. And in year 1, 2,400 times 0.9375. We are going to depreciate it $22.50. In year 2, it says that we have 2,200 hours that we used it for. So again, we multiply it by the same factor.
Maybe it's only 2,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. 2,000, I read it wrong. 2,000 in year 2. In year, 2,000 hours in year 2. So I get 1,875. In year 3, it was the 2,200 hours. So it's 2,062.5. Round that up, 2,063. Okay. And then last year is 1,400 hours times 0.9375. And you get, again, rounding up, 1,313. Okay? All right. We're going to stop there. All right. Any questions on that? All right.